bottom line is that when President Biden, and you know how we were talking earlier about how there are certain non-starters when it comes to decisions that are made by politicians, Joe Biden broke the railroad strike. It isn't a small thing. It's a significant thing. It is so significant that it was the biggest anti-labor move since Reagan fired the air traffic controllers in 1981. We're talking over 40 years that nothing of that magnitude had ever happened. And even though there was a minor example of that during the Clinton administration, again, what is it with the Democrats breaking?
Well, but you know why that's not being included in the information in which Foch is talking about, because remember, the railroad workers are not under the NLRB. And so it's very interesting how those numbers, that statistics, that whole part is sort of being left out of this equation, where he's sort of praising these moves by the NLRB, although he did say, and that let's see if they actually do these things.
Now, again, the NLRB is a great organization that in terms of what is protecting the right to organize, to the right to assembly at a job, yes, because it is the law. And let's face it, there is still power in what drives union power. The whole idea behind the NLRB protecting labor in this instance, or in this case, the unions, is because they know, I mean, look, I can't really say much about the Democratic Party strategy in terms of what they know and don't know as far as winning another general election in 24, but they do know that they have to at least break some bread with the union bosses. And this is obviously one where they understand that there is this sort of labor uprising in this country, and they can't just ignore it because a lot of them are finding their way to Donald Trump. That's a very real thing. And so the more they pretend like this isn't happening, they have to give. There's no way the majority will ultimately speak for it. And let's face it, what is the most important thing for most people in D.C., especially the Democratic Party? It's the job.
Staying there.
It's staying there.
They love the swamp.
So having that job is very important. And so you cannot continue this anti-labor crusade.
I cannot wrap my mind around it for the life of me.
Can't work. So that's why giving ground in that particular capacity is absolutely necessary. That's why you're really going to find out just how pro-union Joe Biden really is, because it does look on paper that the UAW is going to strike. And their president, Sean Fain, he ain't messing around.
No.
He looks pretty damn serious.
I honestly, I don't know if you've spoken to Jordan recently, but
Jordan's supposed to come on the following Monday. So
every once in a while, when I'm watching something that Jordan puts out, I'll have a thought in my mind, and I'm up late at night, and I know he's already crashed out. So, but I put little texts out. So the other night, I texted him. I said, I think I love Sean Fain. Just saying. Yeah. And I woke up, and Jordan said he is awesome. Because I share my, and it was the same thing with Cornel West. I'm like, I love him.
Here's why President Biden is not, even if he's the most pro-union president since Ronald Reagan, he's not pro-labor.
Union workers are their saviors. You're the best, not a joke. You're the best workers in the world, not a joke. The Build Back Better plan lowers prices for families and gets people working. It's good for the economy, and it's good for the country. And so I'm grateful for the support of the CEOs that are here. I know they're somewhat busy, to say the least, and they represent a broad spectrum of the economy.
He is coming out and saying that he didn't get everything he wanted in this proposal, and in fact that no one did, that it was all about compromise. What's not in it is paid family leave and free community college, two things that candidate Biden had promised and that he believes also helped him get elected. So there's still a lot of negotiating to do.
Half of the $1.2 trillion package is new federal spending beyond what's authorized each year to pay for normal maintenance of highways and waterways. Celebrating on the South Lawn today, more than 800 attendees, the president and his cabinet flanked by lawmakers, labor unions, business groups, donors.
On the parliamentarian decision, you said that he respects that decision, but progressives don't understand this. In some respect, they're like, why not fight for this? So why is the White House not more aggressively challenging that?
The decision for the vice president to vote to overrule or to take a step to overrule is not a simple decision. It would also require 50 votes. As you know, it's not a one-step decision. And the president and the vice president both respect the history of the Senate. They are both formally served in the Senate, and that's not an action we intend to take.
President Joe Biden signed legislation Friday to block a U.S. railroad strike that could have devastated the American economy.
The bill I'm about to sign ends a difficult rail dispute and helps our nation avoid what, without a doubt, would have been an economic catastrophe at a very bad time in the calendar.
But the Senate failed to approve a measure that would have provided sick days to rail workers.
People say and do things where their pride gets engaged as well. And it's awful hard to back off of some of these things. So what we did was just say, look, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's happening. You have a good deal being made for labor. Their income's going to go up 24% over the next 5 years. They've worked out the health care piece. They worked out days off. They both sat down, in my view, and they were in the office today saying, well, we finally figured out this is fair on both sides.
Bernie Sanders is still active in the Senate. He manages to get Medicare for All through the Senate in some compromised version, the Elizabeth Warren version or other version. Nancy Pelosi gets a version of it through the House of Representatives. It comes to your desk. Do you veto it?
I would veto anything that delays providing the security and the certainty of health care being available now.
I'm going to support you if you win the nomination because we got to get rid of Trump. We got to stop building and replacing pipelines.
You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
I
right.
know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have a
Look,
picture?
you're asking a picture of me, coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan, yeah, you did. You said
I said I would support you in the general.
In the general. I'm looking for a primary.
We're happy to
and
get
a
a number.
caucus.
You can follow up.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because
Now,
we're trying to get.
you believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Tom Steyer.
Did you see how he was grabbing his jacket? Let me tell you something. If that guy clocked Joe in the mouth one time, Joe would have been in the hospital for God knows how long. It's like this.
He's very handsy. Again, he's very handsy
Yeah.
and hair sniffy. Yeah.
So in that video, we got a real good taste of just how anti-labor the president of the United States really is. And this is not even getting into a lot of the policy decisions that he's made as president that have been completely off the wall, including issuing more drilling permits in 2 years than Donald Trump issued in 4 years.
I mean, that's off the labor issue.
That is, but it feeds into this whole notion of we need fundamental generational change right now, and we are getting anything but that.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.